Every night, my daughter tucks me into bed. It started right after the accident. I was still recovering, moving slowly, trying to make sense of the empty spaces that grief leaves behind. My wife was gone, and it was just me and Lily, our 8-year-old daughter. She was quiet those first few weeks, too quiet for a child who used to fill the house with songs and questions. One night, after I dozed off on the couch, I felt a small hand shaking me gently. "Daddy," she whispered. "You forgot to go to bed." She led me upstairs, tucked the blanket around me, kissed my forehead and whispered, "Good night, Daddy. Don't stay up too late." It became our little ritual. Every night, no matter how tired she was, she made sure I was in bed first. I thought it was sweet, her way of taking care of me after losing her mom. But over time, something about it began to unsettle me. She always did it at the same time, exactly 9:34 p.m. If I tried to stay up later, she'd appear at the door, expression calm, eyes steady. "It's bedtime," she'd say softly. Always at 9:34. One night, I decided to ask her about it. "Why do you always tuck me in first, sweetheart?" She paused, her little hands smoothing the blanket over me. "Because it's safer when you're asleep," she said. I laughed nervously. Safer from what? She didn't answer. She just smiled faintly, kissed my forehead, and left the room. That night, I woke up around midnight. The house was silent, except for the faint creak of footsteps in the hallway. I figured it was Lily going to the bathroom, but the sound stopped right outside my door. I turned on the lamp. The doorknob was slowly turning. When I opened it, the hallway was empty. Lily's room was dark, and when I peeked inside, she was sound asleep, her small body curled under the blanket. The next morning, I asked her if she'd come to my room during the night. She frowned. "No," she said softly. "You shouldn't open the door when it's dark, Daddy." Something about the way she said it chilled me. A few nights later, I pretended to go to bed early. I left the light off and waited, eyes half closed, listening. Right on cue, at 9:34, I heard her small footsteps coming down the hallway. The door creaked open, but when she stepped inside, something was different. She was taller, her movements slower, heavier. My heart pounded as I realized it wasn't Lily. The figure leaned over me, whispering in a voice that was almost hers, but wrong. "Time for bed, Daddy." I couldn't move. I couldn't speak. I just felt cold fingers pull the blanket up to my chest, tucking it tight. Then the figure turned and slipped out of the room. When I could finally move again, I ran to Lily's room. She was sitting up, wide-eyed, trembling. "Daddy," she whispered, "you didn't stay in bed. I told you not to get up." She pointed to the door. "She doesn't like it when you get up." I wanted to leave that night, but something kept me frozen. The next morning, I tried to convince myself it was a nightmare. Maybe stress, exhaustion, guilt. But last night something new happened. I woke up again, tucked in so tightly I could barely breathe. On the nightstand beside me was a note in Lily's handwriting. It said, "Don't worry, Daddy. She says I don't have to tuck you in anymore." I ran to her room. The bed was empty. The window was open. And on the pillow was a second note, written in a shaky, unfamiliar hand. "Your turn,